know Liz on my behalf last week where I was missing. I came in late, but there's been a couple of business cases now going through the process of governance. So today we'll be discussing at leadership the agency spend business cases for both schools and corporate. Also the building and cleaning services and fleets as well as parks. Now, most of them are strategic outline business cases with the exception of fleets. Fleet is the outline business case where the team now have progressed testing some of the assumptions and options around the cabinet steer earlier this year, where we're talking more around about how we look at how fleet operates as a centralized model or a corporate function, and some of the findings now will be presented today. Now, this week is a bit different as well, because tomorrow then we've got our portfolio board. So straight away from today, straight in tomorrow, all of those business cases will move to the next stage of governance, providing that it's all agreed today. And we'll be discussing that then at portfolio board tomorrow. And we'll obtain steer then at portfolio board, which of those business cases then that we need to take any further then in the form of a PDM or cabinet. Now, one of the lines that I think we've agreed on as part of the governance process previously with advice from Rob is that anything sort of strategic policy development, we would take to PDM. Anything that's more sort of business operational tomorrow should be fine in terms of making that decision or providing that direction. So we'll hopefully get that steer now tomorrow and then provide an update at show and tell and at stand up next week. Talking about show and tells, because it was in my mind, I know we haven't had a presentation for a while because there's been a lot of activity, in particular with the consultation that's currently in play at the moment. But next week, we'll be giving a show and tell update on contact management and some of the work that's been going on in there. And I'll speak to the project leads then for the week after, where we could be in a position then to start providing some updates on some of the leisure, library and other work then that's going on within the portfolio of work. I will come round now to a few people for some updates. But before I do, anything I said there, has anybody got any questions or comments? No.
The only thing for me is that obviously the exchange programme now that James is going to be heading up, coming out to Ed Service, asking for those SMEs to do that, be trained up on exchange and do that piece of work for us on process mapping. Engage, sorry, not exchange, engage, sorry. So can everybody just make sure that they are giving James the details that he's asking? We met yesterday with Welsh Government CDPS because they are looking how they can start doing some of this work and identify some key areas that we can work in collaboration. Neath Port Talbot have just bought the same tool, so hopefully we'll be able to start sharing the load. So we'll be able to share that data across different authorities so we can get some patterns of working across Wales, not just, you know, Caerphilly does it different to anybody else then. So bit of a plea to me to answer James so that we can keep going on that, because we've now signed all the terms and conditions for our platform. So we need that data and process mapping so that we can prioritise and get it going.
Yeah, just to add to that, I've had some very enthusiastic people talk to me about Engage and eager to get to grips with process mapping in their service areas as well. Also met on Monday with the contact management project team to talk about perhaps some corporate priorities for process mapping with a view to improving service efficiency as well. So going well so far. Thanks.
Fantastic. Thank you. Just because you're over that area and we'll stick over this area, is Mel around just to give a quick update on some of the work that's been happening in waste?
Yeah.
I'll stay here. Come here, Mel.
Where do you want me to go? Okay. Hi everyone. So I've taken over as a project manager for waste, and I've spent the last 2 months trying to catch up on all of the work that they do, because there's a mountain of work going on there. So I've been trying to get up to speed on some of the topics being discussed there. They've got a variety of working groups across the whole work stream. Some of that stuff that they're working on supports our agenda around contact management. So I thought I'd make this initial stand-up around that. So I've kind of assumed that I might do some more stand-ups in the future. So okay, so some quick win stuff then. So our quick win work has had a really positive effect. The food waste uptake has increased by about 20%, I think. I didn't go too heavily on stats at this stage because that was going to be my plan for my next presentation. So since the caddy liners were introduced, we're 6 or 7 months in now, so customers should be getting their second batch of liners, and they can pick those up from all of the hubs, so they are stocked up. HRC residual waste has dropped by about 70% since the pre-sort was introduced, so that's working really, really well. Like I said, I will present a bit more detail on the quick wins and the stats in my next update if I'm invited to do another one. I was conscious of the time and wanted to tell you about some of the work being introduced over the next couple of weeks that's going to have a really positive impact. So the first piece of work is around in-cab. So the digital in-cab system will allow the drivers to follow their routes electronically, reporting issues in real time and receive prompts and reminders for things like assisted collections, hygiene collections and that kind of stuff. It's a transition away from the reliance on crews' knowledge and memory, and it's a digital record of all of the routes. Any risk assessments will be held in there and any other elements that are associated with those collections that the crew need to be aware of. All information that's recorded on those units will feed back into the back office in real time via a portal and allow us to be proactive. It'll give residents real-time feedback and allow service to be more targeted in their approach to education and engagement, because there's a lot of information that we can use going forward. It'll help to minimise claims of missed collections, because what happens at the moment is that a customer will perhaps ring contact centre and log a missed collection when it's not a genuine miss, because the crew have had an issue that prevented them getting to a street and fully intend going back next day. So it'll help us to be able to reduce that call demand. And it'll help us with the huge amount of work that goes into resolving contaminated waste that has been missed. So the biggest benefit will be to reduce our dependency on paper-based working, and it will reduce our customer-led demand. This also heavily impacts my team, so selfishly, I'm very excited about it. And then secondly, this one is kicking off now, so zoning. So this is a new operating model that will help us to be more efficient. So all of the vehicles will start to work in the same zone. So should we have a breakdown or issues with vehicles or streets, the teamwork ethos will kick in and make sure that other crews in close proximity will be able to work together and make sure that waste is collected by hook or by crook. So in most cases, bins will be collected on the same days now. The only exclusions to that will be the ones that are collected by the 18-tonners or the farm rounds. So a letter is going out this week to those people, just to warn them that they won't be changing, but they're going to hear a lot of communication around change, but they just need to hold firm because they're staying as was. Same day collections will give us a much more user-focused strategy for our residents and will aid further in reducing missed collections and the element where waste is not being put out on the right day, because that creates a lot of false demand. Some good news around the OBC over the last couple of days. So Welsh Government have responded positively and the business case will go to Cabinet on the 18th of September and to full council on the 1st of October. So the OBC was created to support the waste strategy and to future-proof our ability to collect and handle waste from across all streams. Part of the plan was to purchase a site where an all-encompassing facility would be built, which is going to enhance our operational efficiency, improve recycling rates, and support the Wales's environmental sustainability goals. And links into our contribution to decarbonisation targets. Securing funding was instrumental in realising that. So good news from WG, and all systems go from here on in. That's it. Any questions?
In relation to the implementation of the new IT system, I met with the project manager, Fiona Osborne. Yes, Marcus is in my line of sight, so I know you can comment far better than me. But we're on target. Everything's going to plan. Excellent company to work with, no blockers whatsoever. The team have reacted in a very, very positive way. So there is absolutely nothing for cause for concern on that project, which is lovely to hear from an IT perspective, because normally it's quite tricky to bring something like that into such a big service area. So I'd just like to say well done to Rhys and his team, and the excellent work they're doing with Fiona.
Yeah, I think installs on that starting from today.
Yes, from today.
Yeah, so that's all systems go.
I just want to echo what Liz said there, and obviously what it shows is the benefits of having a knowledgeable, experienced project manager coming in to help deliver these services. So Fiona came in on Liz's recommendation and has been outstanding in taking this forward, knowledge second to none, and the challenges she posed to that company were really getting down to the bones with them, and to be fair to the company, they've reacted as well. So it's a positive experience all around.
People don't need to understand that.
Thank you both. You have a question? Asia?
Really positive, and obviously you're making inroads to moving forward. Just wondered if all the good news you've just delivered to us is for both commercial as well as household waste.
Yeah, it'll be all waste street.
All
Well, the commercial has a separate agenda, so they've been working on the new legislation around the collection of trade waste. But yeah, there's a lot of work being done on it in that stream as well. I purposefully kept that separate because there are a multitude of working groups. So I just wanted to be able to deliver or do a stand up on a couple at a time. Otherwise, I'd be here for 3 hours. Is going to be the residual, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot of work is being done focusing on schools and catering at the moment. So.
Chris?
Yeah, I just want to echo the work that Rhys and the team have done with the IT. Been brilliant. It's it really is going to give some positive changes. We have a new edition of Newsline coming out, a waste one, which will mention what you've talked about, Mel, and the Newport Waste Savers part with the other waste. So,
yeah, so
that's pretty good.
Letters are starting to go out this week. So the people who were collected by an 18-tonner and the farm runs will get a letter over the next couple of days saying any correspondence you hear from year on in doesn't apply to you. And that was because the letter to the 80,000 residents has gone out blanked and depersonalized, so they are in there. There was no way to pull that out without a significant amount of work. So the next letter then says you're going to change, you're now going to be in zones. It's a benefit to you because all your bins go out on the same day. And they'll have those, they'll be told what zone they're in, and how to find that out if they got any queries. And then on the 30th of September, Newsline goes out with a part that is dedicated to reminding the customer about all of those things and pushing the caddy liners and all of the quick win stuff as well.
Jimmy?
Yeah. So I've seen the draft of Newsline, which shows the zoning. It's an indicative map. There are some areas, perhaps maybe sort of looking at it, might be sort of a grey area caught between the sort of boundaries. How would a resident find out if their street is in zone 1, 2, 3, if they're unsure? Clearly, if you're in the middle of a zone, you know which zone you are on that map. That's the first question. Second question is about the caddy liners. I know we've had a 20% increase, but I understand that things towards the back end of the free caddy liner sort of tailed off slightly, maybe when people didn't have the bags. How are we going to overcome that with a new batch of bags? Because obviously what we want to see is that steady, increase, decrease, whatever you want to call it, and not a kind of leveling off by the end of the trial. So that's my second question.
Yeah, so there's a lot of comms work planned around reminding customers around the quick win stuff. The caddy liners reminders will be part of that. So reminding them that they can come into all of the hubs, leisure centres, libraries here, and get their second batch. Because of course they were delivered of a 26-week supply with the understanding that they'd come in and get their next batch. So we appreciate that some people might either have missed that part. So we're going to do a push now to remind people about that. And then with the letters, there is a QR code on that letter that they can scan. It will take them into our website with the, find my collection part. And there's a new interactive calendar which will go live next week as well. So they can do that. And there is a telephone number and an email address for them to call. But obviously if they could.
Yeah, excellent.
Basically, when they go through that process, Jamie, they postcode in a little calendar, the day of collection and what's being collected each day. There'll be a calendar there for the whole year, so they know when the residual is being collected. So obviously it's fortnightly at the moment, so it'll tell them exactly what days and what to put up on which day.
Okay, just a question.
Yeah, just a small question really. You've got your in-cab technology. How would, say a cab broke down, how would they communicate to somebody to come and get them? Would it have to be through via the office and then back, or would they in-cab communication?
Yeah, the in-cab technology feeds through to a back office portal, which will be managed in the office, and then they'll coordinate that approach from there. I don't actually know the process if a vehicle breaks down and they have to be recovered. But
Vehicle breaks down, that's obviously something that we deal with fleet. With regards to the collections, that's all part of the zoning. So then we can try and utilise the other crews that are within that zone on that day to try and pick up on whatever hasn't been collected. No, we'll have them communicating with each other as well, but they'll have communication back to the office as well. So the back office then can put the comms out to the public on social media and everything to let them know there's an issue, leave your waste there, we will be collecting it, whether it'll be later that day or the following day, but yeah, it'll all be joined up.
Any other questions on waste? No? Okay. Well, as you hear, Marcus, I don't know if Gareth is in the room. Thank you very much, Mel, or yourself, to give a very brief update on sickness management, one of our new discoveries.
We've just started on it. It's still very, very early days. We need to have some communication with the
conditions agreed with the digital platform provider, but in sort of anticipating sort of all of that work coming to a close this week, the team has kind of been refocused as we've kind of talked about over the last couple of weeks. So Tim, are you able to just provide a very high level update of some of the people involved as well? Yeah, we've heard a few elements of the contact stuff today. One of the things we've done is sort of set up a bit of a steering group, for want of a better term, that Ed leads, which has Lynn Donovan, Steve Harris and Liz Lucas on it, from a kind of the savings, the people and the tech and procurement elements of that, to make sure that we can drive it from that point of view. We've set up a smaller group then. As Karen is leading on the bits that'll be around transactional contact, which we've heard a bit about today, so miscollections, that kind of stuff. Tina McMahon is leading on looking at, with Kath and others, about the hubs, and because we talk a lot about hubs, we've had mentions today, but we only got one hub in Rumley as a trial. So what does that mean? How are we going to make them? What does it look like? We know there's a lot in there around town centre hubs and that kind of thing. So what does it look like? How do we accelerate that to get to the same pace? The digital platform work that Karen's team are already driving as well is key to that, as Liz gave that update earlier. And then the second sort of element of it
alongside that, face-to-face and transactional contact through digital and telephone will be the back office centralization stuff. So internal contact, for want of a better term. We've talked about things like invoicing for a long time. So how do we accelerate some of those and make sure that we get it right? Because we need both elements of the external contact and the internal contact to be able to say to an area, so how do I transform my area and understand how different it'll be as a whole? So that's the idea of bringing it together under a kind of steering group that can help drive that. And then each head of service will have different elements of that they'll be interested in. You know, for example, Marcus will be interested in invoicing and misconnections, and others will have interest in different elements of it. Not all the same, but the steering group members will be able to have oversight of the impact of all of that and effectively drive the change in the way that the users get the services and that the savings are being made. So that's where we're at now, and there's some feedback there's a transformation portfolio tomorrow, so we'll give a bit of an update on that everyone will have sight of what that looks like and where we're at with it. But there's been a couple of important milestones, like signing up with a partner so we can get that delivered in the digital service and start to make some real progress now. Any questions on any of that?
Thanks, Tim. And Karen, just a quick update on school transport.
Through contact management, so everybody's done it, which is lovely for a change. So just a quick update on school transport, just a sort of reminder, the consultation starts Monday. So that will all be going out, all the comms is planned, everything's done and dusted. So that will run then from Monday until the 28th of October. And that was just the update that everything's ready to go.
I only just focused on you.
Oh.
Thank you, Karen. And I think
queries. We've got a central area that Celeste and Beck manage, so that we can understand what queries and FOIs we're having in, and we've got a coordinated approach to responding to them. It is resource intensive because we get so many, that's like we've just had, but it's important that we log every query so that we got consistency and make sure we don't miss anybody.
And on that point as well, I don't think Hayley's here because I think Hayley and the engagement team are quite busy now analysing some of the output and the feedback from the consultation. But again, there were some questions yesterday raised, and I think where this has come to use now is that log can be used for Hayley to ensure that any challenges, any letters, any emails, any FOIs can also be reflected then as part of the consultation response as well. So that log was shared with Hayley yesterday, and I'm going to do a quick look through my email inbox just to make sure that Hayley has absolutely everything that's come in to the team, just so that she can pull in then to that consultation report. On that period now with the consultation, so next Tuesday is when we would look to publish some of the reports. The joint scrutiny is on the 24th of September, and then the cabinet meeting then is on the 25th of September. So that's just an update on some of the immediate dates now associated with that consultation. And then in other news then, some of you will hopefully have seen it in your diaries. Next week, we've got a management network meeting on Tuesday. And then on Thursday, there's 2 operational management forum sessions, which I think the first one that we had proved to be really useful, a lot of good feedback. And we're acting on that feedback now to deliver that next one next week. So it's only the second one for that tier of operational managers. And there'll be back-to-back 2 sessions split because it's quite a large group next Thursday afternoon. And that's it in the form of updates.
Just before you move on, the Wi-Fi dropped out just as Marcus was doing a sickness update.
Okay.
But Marcus, I think it's fair to say you're working with the unions. There's not a huge amount to say in terms of the sickness update yet, other than those conversations are starting off and you'll be able to update soon, yeah?
Yes. As an authority, we're probably, from a sickness absence point of view, our figures are, we are, I think, second, but one from the bottom in Wales. So we're probably one of the worst performers in Wales. So we need to look at it and see if there's anything we can do to help support people to get them back into work as early as possible. So this isn't an exercise looking at punitive measures or anything like that. It's looking at what are the issues, what can we do, are there any support mechanisms, etc., and those sorts of things that we can put in place. Is there any best practice out there? So it's all of those sorts of things to look at.
Excellent. Okay, thank you.
Okay, if I'll do one last round. Any other questions, comments? No, okay, thank you very much.
Brilliant. Thanks, everyone.